what looked like a glamorous royal love story is now exploding into something far darker. Because behind the palace smiles, behind the California mansions, behind the carefully rehearsed victim narrative, a terrifying question has suddenly started haunting the royal family itself. What if Meghan Markle never wanted royal duty at all? What if the crown was simply the final staircase in a much older climb toward unimaginable wealth, elite power circles, and global status? And now, after Princess Anne reportedly ripped open secrets the palace spent years refusing to touch, Prince Harry is said to be in total shock watching everything collapse at once. For years, the public was told a simple fairy tale. A misunderstood American actress falls in love with a lonely prince, enters the monarchy, suffers under cruel pressure, and escapes for freedom. That was the brand. That was the script. But suddenly, in 2026, that entire narrative started cracking apart in public view after legal filings from California exposed something so outrageous that even the courtroom reportedly treated it like satire. Hidden deep inside the legal chaos was an alleged sovereign lifestyle accommodation provision, a luxury expectation list so extravagant it sounded less like a marriage agreement and more like the demands of a billionaire oligarch. Private jets, yacht access, helicopter-ready estates, ultra-elite treatment permanently attached to royal status. And according to explosive reports, Princess Anne stepped in personally to make one thing crystal clear: none of it was ever approved by the crown. That statement alone detonated like a bomb inside royal circles. Because suddenly, people began asking the question the palace feared most: if those expectations were real, then what exactly was Meghan expecting from Harry all along? The timing made it even more devastating. Because while the California court was allegedly tearing apart these luxury claims, another scandal was erupting from thousands of miles away in Dubai. And this is where the story stopped sounding like celebrity gossip and started sounding like a hidden dossier finally leaking into daylight. Canadian psychologist Jordan Peterson released a podcast called The Mirage of Virtue, and within hours, the internet exploded. 15 million streams in less than 2 days. Why? Because the podcast allegedly traced Meghan's social connections years before she ever entered Kensington Palace. At the center of the storm was a mysterious luxury yacht called the Golden Mirage, reportedly docked near Dubai between 2010 and 2011. According to the dossier, Meghan wasn't simply struggling in Hollywood during that period. She was allegedly navigating elite billionaire circles, private diplomacy gatherings, and secretive networking environments involving oil wealth, hedge fund power players, and ultra-rich global figures. Suddenly, the girl next door image started colliding violently with another version of Meghan entirely: polished, strategic, ambitious, and relentlessly climbing. And this is where Prince Harry's situation reportedly became emotionally catastrophic, because insiders claim he believed he had married someone who wanted love, freedom, and family. But critics are now asking whether he was instead part of a much larger ambition machine built around influence, branding, celebrity leverage, and billionaire-level access. The palace reportedly watched this transformation quietly for years, silent, observing, waiting. But Princess Anne allegedly decided enough was enough once royal titles themselves started being used inside legal and commercial structures the monarchy could no longer control. Her response was cold, ruthless, surgical. She reportedly made it clear that private luxury expectations would never become royal obligations, and that the monarchy would not finance lifestyles disconnected from duty and service. That statement hit Harry like a truck because it destroyed the last illusion that the palace might quietly support the Sussex operation behind the scenes. And then came the truly dangerous part, because once the yacht allegations started circulating online, people began connecting dots everywhere. Marcus Anderson, Soho House relationships, exclusive networking events, billionaire social circles, private invitations, confidential gatherings. Suddenly, social media turned into a digital crime board filled with timelines, photos, metadata, and theories. Some commentators even started drawing visual comparisons between Meghan's alleged elite networking years and the atmosphere surrounding global luxury scandals like 1MDB. No direct evidence tied her to criminal operations, but the imagery itself became explosive enough for the palace to panic. That's why insiders claim Princess Anne pushed for an unprecedented separation strategy, a total institutional firewall between the monarchy and the Sussex commercial ecosystem. The message was brutal. If Harry and Meghan wanted celebrity freedom, they would no longer receive royal ambiguity as protection. Meanwhile, Harry reportedly found himself trapped in emotional freefall. Public sympathy was fading. Poll numbers were collapsing. Critics who once defended him were suddenly calling him isolated, manipulated, and completely disconnected from reality. The palace, according to reports, is now preparing preparing for a historic February 6 declaration at Marlborough House, where Princess Anne is expected to outline Harry's constitutional future and financial independence once and for all. And insiders claim the conditions for any royal reintegration would be absolutely humiliating. Full financial separation from Sussex business ventures, public accountability, renouncing attacks against the monarchy, probationary royal restrictions. The prince who once walked behind Queen Elizabeth with military pride may now be reduced to negotiating supervised access to royal life itself. What makes this entire scandal feel so explosive is that silence itself has started looking suspicious. Meghan's team reportedly stopped responding aggressively after the California rejection. Harry has remained largely invisible. The palace, once famous for never complain, never explain, has suddenly shifted towards something colder, strategic exposure. That alone terrified royal watchers, because institutions only change their survival strategy when they believe the threat has become existential. And according to insiders, Buckingham Palace now sees the Sussex era not as family drama, but as a direct battle over what the monarchy even means in the digital influencer age. Now the entire world is waiting for Princess Anne's next move, and the tension surrounding that press conference is becoming unbearable, because this is no longer just about Harry and Meghan. It's about whether royal titles are symbols of service or commercial tools for celebrity empires. It's about whether victimhood became a billion-dollar marketing strategy. It's about whether Prince Harry finally realized too late that the fairy tale he defended for years may have been built on expectations even he could never satisfy. And somewhere behind palace walls, insiders claim the monarchy has already accepted one brutal truth: the Sussex chapter cannot continue the way it has. The line is being drawn now, publicly, permanently. Prince Harry reportedly never imagined the palace would reach this point. Not after everything. Not after the interviews, the documentaries, the memoirs, the accusations, the endless war with the institution he once called home. But insiders now claim the prince is watching something terrifying unfold behind closed palace doors. Not anger, not revenge, but complete emotional detachment. The monarchy is no longer reacting emotionally to the Sussex chaos. It is reorganizing itself without them. And according to royal insiders, that realization has shaken Harry more than any public criticism ever could. Because for the first time since Megxit, the palace reportedly looks prepared to close the door permanently while exposing exactly why they felt forced to do it. What makes this situation even darker is the growing belief that the monarchy intentionally stayed silent for years while collecting receipts, monitoring commercial activity, documenting unauthorized branding usage, and preparing legal boundaries behind the scenes. Critics used to mock the palace for appearing weak and outdated, but now many are beginning to suspect that Buckingham Palace was simply waiting for the Sussex narrative to collapse under its own contradictions before stepping forward publicly. And according to insiders, that collapse has finally arrived. The California courtroom rejection reportedly changed everything internally because it transformed the Sussex story from emotional grievance into financial expectation. Suddenly, the public wasn't hearing about privacy anymore. They were hearing about elite luxury demands, billion-dollar lifestyle expectations, and a prince allegedly unable to maintain the standard his wife envisioned. That shift was devastating because it reframed the entire marriage in the eyes of critics. At the center of the storm now stands Princess Anne, and royal observers are calling her the monarchy's silent enforcer. While King Charles focuses on modernization and stability, Anne reportedly became the figure willing to say the uncomfortable parts out loud. Her alleged push for symbolic closure is being described as one of the boldest royal institutional moves in decades. No more half in, half out ambiguity. No more using royal identity as a floating brand asset. No more carefully worded confusion allowing commercial deals to quietly benefit from palace association. According to leaked discussions, the monarchy wants absolute separation now, financially, legally, emotionally, and symbolically. And insiders claim Harry was blindsided by how serious the palace has become. Meanwhile, Meghan's silence has become one of the loudest elements of the scandal. Usually when criticism erupts, counter-narratives appear quickly through interviews, anonymous sources, or carefully placed media stories. But this time, silence. Total silence. And critics believe that silence exists because the allegations surrounding the Golden Mirage Yacht era created a dangerous image problem the Sussex team cannot easily spin away. The image of a struggling humanitarian outsider suddenly clashes with rumors of elite networking aboard ultra-luxury vessels years before royal life ever entered the picture. Whether every claim is true almost no longer matters online because perception itself has become the battlefield. And perception is turning brutal. The internet has already begun rewriting Meghan's rise as a long strategic campaign toward power and wealth rather than a spontaneous romance with Harry. Commentators are dissecting every old photograph, every Soho House connection, every social climbing rumor, every elite invitation, every carefully timed relationship. The narrative is mutating in real time from rescued princess to master strategist, and Harry reportedly finds himself trapped in the middle of it all, emotionally isolated from both sides. California insiders claim tensions inside the marriage have intensified dramatically as financial pressure grows and public popularity drops faster than expected. The Netflix magic is fading. The Spotify era already collapsed. Public fatigue is growing. And now, even sympathetic audiences are beginning to question whether the Sussex brand can survive without permanent conflict driving attention. But perhaps the most chilling part of this entire saga is what the monarchy appears to have learned from it. Palace officials reportedly believe the digital age created a completely new type of royal threat. Not political revolution, but narrative warfare. A world where royal proximity can be monetized endlessly through streaming platforms, podcasts, memoirs, interviews, and emotional branding campaigns. That realization allegedly forced King Charles and Princess Anne into survival mode. While they now understand that protecting the monarchy no longer means simply surviving scandal. It means protecting the meaning of royalty itself before it becomes just another influencer product. That's why the upcoming Marlborough House declaration is being treated like a constitutional reset rather than a family update. And as February 6 approaches, one terrifying possibility hangs over everything. What if Harry finally realizes there is no way back to the version of life he destroyed? Friends reportedly say he appears exhausted, emotionally drained, and increasingly detached from the confident prince the public once adored. The fun-loving royal rebel has transformed into a deeply controversial figure associated with lawsuits, family warfare, failed media ventures, and constant public resentment. Meanwhile, Princess Anne reportedly continues preparing legal and constitutional frameworks with icy precision, ensuring every royal step is protected from future manipulation. She understands something many ignored for years: institutions do not collapse all at once. They collapse slowly through blurred boundaries, compromised symbolism, and tolerated contradictions. And now the palace seems determined to stop that collapse no matter how brutal the separation becomes. In the end, this entire saga stopped being a love story a long time ago. It became a battle between celebrity culture and institutional legacy, between emotional branding and royal discipline, between performance and permanence. And as the world waits for Princess Anne to step before the cameras, one thing feels undeniable now: the House of Windsor is no longer protecting the Sussex narrative. It's preparing to bury it forever.